sure that the things that I've enjoyed during my life are available for my kids and grandkids and future generations beyond.
That's priceless. And, you know, unless we take care of that, it will go away and we'll never, ever have it again.
We'll be arriving at Angel Island very shortly. And when we do, the team leaders who are wearing the red...
We're here at Angel Island in San Francisco Bay with 300 people from the tourism industry from all over the country, from 30 different states and 2 countries and 100 different companies that have come in here to volunteer for a day to help clean up Angel Island, which needs some help because of budget cuts in the state park system in California.
I'm sure all of you know the famous Mark Twain quote that the coldest winter he ever spent was a summer in San Francisco. So that's, you're getting a taste of what that's all about.
We're loving it. Charles, we're loving it.
Oh, yeah? Angel Island is steeped in so much history, and very few people know about Angel Island.
My grandmother actually came through Angel Island, so historically there's a personal meaning here for me.
For me, probably the most memorable one was Ellis Island, which was the very first Tourism Cares cleanup. That was in 2003, and I'd just become an American citizen 1 week before, so to be standing in the arrivals hall of Ellis Island as a new citizen and realize that just about every American has been processed either through Ellis Island, and then of course if you're anywhere from Asia, you would have been, quote, processed through Angel Island. So for me, this is like revisiting what was the very, very first Tourism Cares event, and since then I think there's been like hundreds, if not thousands and thousands of man-hours that have gone into cleanup operations, so it's pretty cool.
We volunteer a lot.
What we're doing here is helping state parks in a time of great need. When you look around all of our state parks, you're going to find that we have a lot of edges that look pretty tattered. And this is a group that has come out here, put their money where their mouth is, and said, we want to help.
We're rebuilding the missions. Fix fences and paint picnic tables and things like that.
I mean, it feels good to help, so why not?
Picnic area look cleaner and stuff.
Preserving some of these great historic sites.
If you fill it, I'll wheel it. Okay, another deputy. You know, I've never rode a wheelbarrow before in my life.
You're doing good.
I'm excited about that.
These are folks that actually paid to be on a trip.
The tourism industry is important here in California. It's one of the most important industries that we have in the state. So if these people come here and make us healthy, then California's economy stays healthier. We couldn't thank them enough.
Yeah, as we rock and roll. As we rock and roll. That's all right. They'll wait for us.
Yeah.
We pretty much run the red team,
good
so it's okay.
Once again, thank you, San Francisco. Thank you, California. Have a great evening this evening and safe travels back home.
Saying that the camaraderie.
It just, you know, you got this bond, and you know, we all want to make these places better places to go visit.
Especially with Tourism Cares, you meet so many different people from all around the world. It's fantastic.
More about the fact that it's about educating people to join in and have fun and meeting people and doing things you wouldn't normally do. It's all about the experience.
I will keep coming back every year as long as I can.
We enjoy doing the good work.
A community center in the Lower Ninth Ward built by volunteers.
This community center is in the name of it is the Lower Ninth Ward Village, and we named it a village because it takes a village to raise a child.
We've been coming down to New Orleans now for 3 years, literally gutting houses, and most of the day we would take people's memories and put them on the curbside. This year's been kind of a new experience for us. Instead of tearing things down, we're having the experience of putting something up.
But this is a community center that the neighborhood and volunteers are putting together. We're trying to make a blueprint for tragedy anywhere in the world.
It's kind of hard to grasp what needs to be done or what you can do, but we're helping to build a kitchen for the community center.
In the commercial kitchen, we'll be a kitchen that teaches the kids how to cook, how to wait tables, how to run a kitchen. So it's going to be the neighborhood pulling together to make that become a reality.
I'm most impressed with the community effort and how people are coming from all over the country. We've met people from Baltimore and Albuquerque, and we're from Michigan, so it wasn't until we got down here that we realized how important it is to volunteer and to put forth an effort to improve things.
And we're going to have computer classes. We're also going to have a studio department where the kids could go in and make music and stuff like that.
My husband and my daughter and I came down the day before Christmas, and we came over here yesterday and worked with Mac and a few of his volunteers and are scraping windows and trying to help in the beginning stages of putting a community center together.
We're going to have a library, and we're also going to have an art class. So these are some of the major things besides recreation, having basketball and volleyball, soccer, and things of that nature here. So these are the things that we're trying to provide.
I am a recent college grad, and I just moved down here in September, and this is my family.
But our most thing that we want to address is the elderly and getting the elderly home. So we're going to eliminate the red tape. Whatever it takes to get them home, that's what we're going to do. You know, we're not going to look into why they don't have the money or whatever the problems are. If we ask them, they want to be home, we're going to do everything in our power to get them home, fixing their house, going to get them in Texas, wherever they're at, in Atlanta or wherever they're at, and bringing them home.
We love Mac. He's great.
We're picking ourselves up by our bootstraps with the help of volunteers, and we're doing it, and there are a lot of wonderful stories down here, and we're working together, and we'd love to tell you all about it.
Yeah, this community center just seems like a really good thing. So can't wait to see it when it's finished.
To see volunteer stories, go to www.projectkatrinavolunteers.net.
Well, the thing about it, I had looked at this place like 4 years before Katrina.
And this place was down in the
lower Ninth Ward.
Yeah.
It looked like an old airplane hangar, but the space was fantastic to do antique cars. So when I got the opportunity to get it, I wasn't going to pass it up. And that worked until I got the keys in my hand. Once I got the keys in my hand, I went in through the back doors and stepped in there, and for whatever reason, childhood and teenage memories I could not shake of a community center that was my sanctuary when I was a kid coming up. Not being able to shake it, I said, well, I'll tell you what, I'm going to do groundbreaking in 2 weeks. If the community comes out, then I'll do the community space. If they don't come out, then I'm going to do my antique cars.
You kind of tossed it to fate,
yes.
huh? Okay.
Well, I thought I was a shoe in the win. We only had like maybe 10% of the people back, and they were so busy trying to get their lives in order. I knew they wasn't going to be able to come out to even see the space. But to my shocking surprise, over 300 came out, and I was really, really shocked at that. But I didn't give up. I had them make out from the 4x4 cards, and it basically said, if you wanted to become a community space, what can you do? Well, I figured no one would fill out the cards. I do my antique cars.
You gave it another chance.
Yes,
right.
Almost every one of them filled out a card, and it was so amazing, and they have been totally committed to making it a community space.
You know, he gave the community center so many chances, I think, deep down inside. You might have just wanted the community center more than tinkering around with some old antique cars.
Yes,
I think so.
And it's been the most rewarding thing I ever done. We just celebrated 1 year anniversary, November the 30th, and I have to admit it's been the most rewarding, the most exciting year of my life. Just trying to help people get back on their feet, trying to rebuild a community that was definitely totally devastated.
Orphanage Outreach is an organization based in the United States that works to provide funding, resources, and willing volunteers to orphanages in the Dominican Republic and Nicaragua. They offer experiences ranging from one-week trips to multi-month internships, during which time volunteers do everything from building new facilities to teaching English in the schools. I spent 10 days with a group of volunteers in the Dominican Republic, where I got the chance to see this common tourist destination on a more personal level. The week came up with more unexpected surprises. We take a trip out to a very rural part of the country known as a Batey, a Dominican agricultural community. The community has even fewer resources than those of Monte Cristi. They are limited to basic needs and don't get many chances to enjoy even the activities that the children of the orphanage take part in. And this time, the activities aren't just for the children. Many mothers here are very young themselves. The volunteers prepare many of the same activities that were popular back at the orphanage.
We just got to a Batey, which is an old farming community in Monte Cristi, and in our group we're going to make cool bracelets and keepsakes with yarn and beads for them to take home. This is the recreation station, and we have a game of pass going on over here and some girls jump roping over here. So the kids are just having fun, doing whatever they want to play around outside.
Our station today was social games, so we brought a few games to share with them, and they brought some games to share with us too. So now I'm playing one of the games that they introduced us to, where everyone jumps, and it's funny. It's a simple game, but we've been enjoying it for a really long time.
Sí, bueno, estamos jugando un deporte fútbol. Se agarra aquí con la mano y ¡pum! Golpea y la bola está por allá.
That famous line, delivered so perfectly by Robert De Niro in Taxi Driver, made some of us wary of taxicab drivers. Most cabbies are great. It's just the ones who overcharge us or scare us so much with their driving tactics that make us think twice about raising our hand and whistling for a cab. IHateTaxis.com is a site that gives travelers the tools to intelligently navigate various modes of transportation, from major tourist points including airports, ferries, cruise ship terminals, and train stations. For example, from Mexico City International Airport, the site tells us we can take a train service, private bus companies, and yes, even cabs. There's other helpful travel information on this site as well, including currency exchange and humidity levels. So as we always say, know as much as possible before you go by visiting IHateTaxis.com.
We're in Caesarea, a city that was built between 22 BC and 12 BC by Herod the Great, who came into power in Israel in 37 BC. He wanted to replicate a Roman city and also set up a port for commerce. Hence he chose this seaside location. What you'll see here are some incredible Roman ruins that span an amphitheater, a theater, a hippodrome, as well as a palace and a pagan temple.
Herod named the city Caesarea after his patron, Caesar Augustus, who appeared publicly in 12 BC at the city's boisterous grand opening celebration. Herod recreated a Roman city full of temples, markets, roads, baths, and more, many of which stood for centuries. The buildings stood when Caesarea flourished in the 3rd century under Byzantine rule. When it was conquered by Crusaders in the 11th century, it continued to flourish. It even flourished when France's Louis IX fortified the city with walls and a moat, as well as when Caesarea was eventually lost to the Mameluke armies in the 13th century. The buildings couldn't stand forever, but today the city is a reminder of what once was, and it is impressive nonetheless.
at the edge of the palace, they chose this spot to put in a pool. Now that rectangle you see over here, right here, this rectangle was their pool. And there wasn't all that sand in it. It was actually dug out at the time. Obviously sand over time has filled it in. But imagine a wall around it. Imagine them letting the water come into the pool. And also imagine rooms around the pool where you could relax and enjoy the sea breeze and a nice swim.
When the rulers of Caesarea tired with their beachside pool, they would entertain themselves and the Caesarean people by hosting theatrical productions, sporting events, and gladiator games.
Imagine ancient times. You're here in the Hippodrome. All sorts of events take place. Gladiators in mortal combat, hunting, action sports, horse racing, and chariot racing. Imagine thousands of people coming in to watch. Some of them inebriated, they've been out drinking, and they're here for the excitement, and in many cases, the blood. Now look at this track. As you come down to the end, imagine chariot racing, and imagine the highest priced tickets right here at each end of the oval. Why were those the highest priced tickets? Because as the chariots would race down, they'd have to make this tight turn. And in many cases, the chariot would flip over. Now, if the fall didn't kill the driver, the next chariot behind quite possibly would, because those chariots were outfitted with different metal and things jutting out with that exact intent. And imagine as somebody falls and the blood pours, the crowd goes wild. That was life here in the Hippodrome.
Today, Caesarea operates mostly as a museum and education center, but it is more than just an academic day abroad. Scenic views make nice bars and restaurants in Caesarea especially attractive, and the city hosts concerts and shows at the preserved and refurbished Roman Theater.
Hi, we're here with Jake Brewer, board member for United Planet. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Can you tell us a little bit about your organization?
Sure. United Planet is about a 9-year-old organization that is really built on the premise of relational diplomacy. And so the idea there is we think if we can build person-to-person connections around the world, that will create a more united planet. And that united planet can help to solve the world's problems more effectively by really understanding each other's cultures, where people are coming from, and be able to address problems responsibly with that in mind.
Okay, and what are some of the programs that you use to do that?
Sure. So there's the primary program of United Planet is the Quest program. So volunteers can engage in a volunteer experience, a highly immersive experience from anywhere from 1 to 52 weeks. So really a lot of variability in terms of how a volunteer could really be engaged. And so volunteers come to us, and then we place them at a home in any one of 40 countries around the world. So anywhere from Angkor Wat, Cambodia, to Zela, Guatemala, to you name it, to Zanzibar and Tanzania. Lots of different options in terms of types of culture, places around the world, and then engaging in an educational volunteer program on anything from education to healthcare to entrepreneurship to really just about anything you can name at this point.
And what about you? Have you been involved in volunteering?
I have, yeah. I can honestly say that I am one of those folks that my life has been changed because of the experiences that I've had as a volunteer, both domestically and abroad. But I think the idea of volunteerism often isn't to try to solve the problem that day. And I think that's one of the core aspects of United Planet is that we're not engaging in the community to try to fix their problems by coming in from the outside, but rather to use the experience as something where people can understand something different, see something different, and then use that as a catalyst for greater awareness and kind of a sense of service for the rest of their life in other ways. And so that happened for me very much so. The one that sticks out for me is when I was 20 years old, I ended up going to Oman and working in the desert with the Bedouin communities there and doing economic development. And then went from there to actually Mongolia. And you think about, I'm from the South, so Columbia, Tennessee, a really small town, and grew up about as, I won't say as backwards as you can get, but close. And finding these people so warm and loving on the other side of the world who I've been told in some cases negative things about, but really experiencing that firsthand and building that one-to-one relationship with young people and old people and seeing how they live and how they give back as well. And then being able to bring that back to my own community and share that. It really was profoundly impactful in terms of how I saw the world and how I was able to then pursue a career in really helping other people to do the same thing.
And how can others get involved in volunteering with the United Planet?
With the United Planet, the easiest thing to do is to visit the website or to call, which you can find the number on the website. But really, the programs are tailored to just about whatever somebody may need. So if you need, again, if you need to go for 1 week, if you want to go for 6 months, if you want to go for a year, if you want to spend time in Africa, if you want to spend time in the middle of nowhere in Asia, you can do that. And we can tailor programs that will allow you to really immerse in whatever area you're interested in, and then to really engage deeply with the community as a volunteer.
Okay. And finally, I know that United Planet is connected to the Building Bridges Coalition.
That's right.
Can you tell us a little bit about that and some of the benefits?
Sure. The United Planet is one of the founding members, founding sponsors of the Building Bridges Coalition, which is really an extraordinary effort to increase dramatically the number of international volunteers around the world from the United States. Really also kind of in this same way the United Planet thinks that relational diplomacy is the key aspect of everything we do. International volunteers are in many ways the best diplomats that any country can have, but especially the United States. So it's been a big emphasis of United Planets to be involved in that work and to really be part of we call it the rising tide, lifting all the boats to allow for anybody, however they may be engaged in traveling and volunteering internationally, whether that's through United Planet or through another program. The Building Bridges Coalition is really making more of that possible around the country.
Okay, great. Thank you. And to find out more about United Planet, visit our website.
In the heart of most major cities, there is some kind of market, and Tel Aviv is no exception. They actually have two markets. This is the Carmel Market, which features food stands, vegetable stands, and assorted wares. But right next door to it is the pedestrian mall. The pedestrian mall sells what we would call back in the States, tchotchkes. When I travel, I like to stay away from the tourist crowds, and Tel Aviv was no different. I was looking for a genuine local experience, so I took a trip to the city's largest market, the Carmel Market. Here, animated vendors hawk their products with booming voices to the locals that cram the street. The shoppers were there hoping to find all of their daily groceries, whether it was produce, fish, fruit, even rare olives and exciting spices in this one spot. Among the madness, there were even some small electronics and toys. Now, after wandering the Carmel Market, I was a little drained, so I couldn't pass up my chance to re-energize. All right, my friend, I'm gonna go with one of these size right here. Now, what can I mix? Pretty much anything, right? What's your favorite?
Those mix, this is 6, 10, 15.
Gotta stay healthy, and this is a great way. Some fresh veggies here in the market. That's a lot of carrot juice going in there. Got a little bit of a thirst quencher that's also nutritional. And now, let's wander around and see what else we can discover here. After the Carmel Market, wandering around the nearby pedestrian mall was a bit more of a calming experience. Still, the energy of the locals was all around. Here, the excitement took the quieter form of artists and craftsmen at work. I'll admit, I thought I was in a sea of tchotchkes, but before long, I realized my mistake. The pedestrian mall wasn't full of toys and trinkets, but rather the craft work of talented and hardworking artists.
to preserve this nation's natural heritage of geological and biological diversity, including some things that can be seen nowhere else in the world. That's why the National Park Service created the National Natural Landmarks Program. The program designates as NNLs areas that are among the best examples of a type of biological community or geological feature. About 1/3 of the nearly 600 of these landmarks are in private hands. The program has several goals: to encourage the preservation of sites illustrating the geological and ecological character of the United States, to enhance the scientific and educational value of those sites, and to foster a greater concern for the conservation of the nation's natural heritage. NNL sites can be land or water ecosystems such as lakes and swamps, geological features, or fossil sites. Some NNLs are the best remaining examples of a type of feature. You might say creating the program was a landmark decision.